The Dangers in My Heart, at face value, is your typical teasing girl anime. There's a hot girl, and for some reason, she finds the main character entertaining and constantly is hanging around him. But deep underneath is a more compelling story. A story about a guy who is essentially lost in his own desires. These deep, dark desires that he keeps secret from everybody that ultimately leads him to want to take out a classmate. A very dark and unnerving story that could possibly lead to a very, very tragic end. But amidst this confusion of what exactly this show is it worth checking out? I don't know. But this is my first impressions of the first 2 episodes of The Dangers of My Heart, so let's jump right into it. The Dangers of My Heart opens up with a guy named Ichikawa, and Ichikawa has a dark, hidden secret from his classmates. He actually has this strong, dark desire within his own heart for tragedy and murder and death. He's very, very goth. And it unfortunately extends towards one particular person in his class, the most beautiful girl in his class, Ana Yamada. She is beautiful, she's stacked for her age, which, yes, anime, yes, anime is gonna make her super thick and just super endowed. She's a model, she's very popular, and yes, he wants to take her out. He really wants to know what kind of face she would give, what kind of beauty she would be if she was dead. But again, he always kind of keeps this inside of himself, hidden away from everybody around him. And one day when he's hiding away in the library, which is kind of his secret place, that's where he goes to kind of think for himself and be quiet because it's so noisy during lunch. Well, Yamada is there and she is chowing down on snacks, like chowing down, like Inukai-san types of goofiness chowing down, like just giggling and just chomping down just very awkwardly. Definitely a different side of her than you would typically get. And what kind of follows this is their random encounters at the library, whether it be somebody else shows up and they have a conversation or he interacts with Yamada in some way. Watching her chow down her food, her friend shows up and he tries to cover up for her by her hiding under the table. This other classmate shows up and pretty much confesses to this chunky classmate. All the while, Ichikawa sees a different side of Yamada, and it seems like Yamada is comfortable around Ichikawa. And outside of the library, you have a lot of interactions where Yamada gets like caught up in a situation where she's obviously uncomfortable. And it seems like Ichikawa, even though again, it seems like he wants to take her out, he always ends up stepping in and helping her out. Whether it's this pushy guy trying to get Yamada's contact info and Ichikawa decides to push his bike down the hill. You have a situation where it seems like Yamada is crying and everybody looks towards the windows to see something and he decides to distract everybody. Deep down, it seems like Ichikawa wants to help Yamada, but at the same time, again, this is in counter to the initial impression that he wants to take her out. So my thoughts on The Dangers in My Heart. Like I joked about at the very beginning, yes, it's technically true. This is a very dark start. I mean, this guy is way up in his head with these dark thoughts. He wants to take out classmates. He's obsessed with death. And again, that extends to one particular person, being Yamada. And it's not as if he goes out of his way to enact that violence. It seems like it's all in his head, and he never goes any further than that. What essentially happens is, despite his dark thoughts, it seems like he's kind of pulled into Yamada's kind of circle. Now, it's not really clear at this point with the first 2 episodes exactly why Yamada has some sort of interest in Ichikawa. She did notice him staring at her right at the very beginning, and she tries to say something which he confirms in the library, which it has yet to sort of clear up. He essentially, the first time he goes in the library, she's got her mouth stuffed with food, and she's like, which was super cute, by the way. She's like, he's like, what? Yeah, sure, okay. And then she looks happy about it. So I don't know if that's her saying, like, you're not mad at me, are you? And he's like, yeah, sure, it's fine, or whatever. Or if it's, hey, can we be friends? I mean, the easy answer would be, I'm not bothering you, am I? And he's like, yeah, sure, you're not. And then that kind of helps her out, and she's happy about it. But it could also be that she's like, are you interested in me? And he says, sure, because he's just trying to answer her, and she's kind of happy about it. I don't know. It could be anything, because Yamada is a goofball. In the end, Yamada is a goofball. And that's sort of kind of the hook so far. Despite my joke at the very beginning of this idea of this being a deeper story about this darkness in this guy's heart and how it's not just a teasing girl, this is pretty much a teasing girl show. Now, granted, Yamada is, I think, too dense to be a teaser. It could turn in that. It could turn at some point where she's like, yeah, I really liked him, so I started hanging out in the library, and I wanted to get to know him, and I love the expressions that he gives. it doesn't give me any sort of indication that she is going out of her way to interact with him and doing it mindfully. It seems like she's just a goofball, and he happens to be nearby and reacts to it. So it's sort of the teasing girl, but not intending to teasing girl, I think. But I do believe that Yamada is comfortable around Ichikawa. It seems like that's obviously the case. She's much more open around him than she is in her public circles. In her public circles, yes, she's friendly with her friends, but anybody else, it's not like she's doing goofy things. She doesn't even... All the things that she seems like she would not be comfortable around other people, she would do in private, and that's at the library with Ichikawa. Munching down on food. Though it does seem to indicate that the reason that she is eating a bunch of snacks in the library... This is dumb. I know this is dumb. She's eating snacks in the library because her friend is allergic to snacks. I don't know. They should have said like a specific ingredient, maybe a preservative in a lot of chips and snacks, maybe oils or something like that. But no, it's literally, she's allergic to snacks, so I snack elsewhere. That you can't be allergic to snacks. You're allergic to an ingredient of snacks. But it's still cute. She's trying to go out of her way because she doesn't want her friend to feel uncomfortable. Even when she was visiting her house, she would sneak out to the bathroom and she'd be eating snacks in the hallway. She's cute in that regard. I definitely think Yamada is super cute. I think they made a really fantastic character, and I think she, in the grand scheme of teasing girls, you have Nagatoro, which is tan girl, super energetic, very buggy and almost bully-ish. You have things like Teasing Master Takagi-san, which is more puppy love. This is kind of more in the realm of maybe something like Kubo. Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible, but an oblivious character. Kubo is definitely, she knows what she wants. Again, Yamada doesn't seem like she's actually going for that. It just kind of happens because she's a goofball. So in the grand scheme of the teasing girl genre, I think this is doing something significantly different because you have such an oblivious girl, seemingly, and you have a guy that's just caught up in his own head with his own dark desires and how that impressions on people around him and how he keeps it secret. Now, the unfortunate thing for this series, this is the big unfortunate but for this series. I came into it expecting something completely different. And it's not that I need it to do that, but at the same time, that was sort of the creative hook that I was kind of expecting. When I seen the PV, I thought, holy crap, this is going to get dark. Like, this is going to be a dark show. And my impression of it was that Yamada is going to be having some sort of secret herself. Seems like her secret is just eating. She had these 2 moles on her neck, and I'm like, is she going to be a vampire? Is it going to go that direction? It doesn't have supernatural or anything in the genre, so I don't think it's going to go with that. No, it just seems like simply he starts in a dark place. She's a goofball, and he's sort of interested in her, and he helps her. And that's sort of it, which is fine. But at the same time, my expectations for something really clever and interesting and possibly dark here, it's out. It's out. It's just, no, this is just Teasing Girl. If you like Yamada and you want to see her do cute things, that's the show. And that's the unfortunate thing. Now, to that effect, it's doing good. I think Yamada's super cute. She's super a dork. I love her seiyuu. The expressions and stuff they have on her face is super adorable. And again, how she's in junior high, middle school, whatever, is beyond me. But that's anime. They do that. I always just feel that with anime, it's like, just add 5 years, and that's technically the age of the character because of how they make the characters and their proportions and everything. Now, I will admit that there is a sort of a question mark with this series, and the idea that you have, especially for the West, really dark situations involving a classmate that is seeing dark things around the characters around them. I don't think this is falling that heavy into it. It could do it in the future, but for the first 2 episodes, it doesn't seem like it's going that dark. As I mentioned before, it clears that up very quickly, and the focus turns to just wanting to see what Yamada's doing and to help her out. But it's not shedding the aspect of Ichikawa having dark thoughts. He's constantly still thinking about how he still wants to do this, but it's not as grim and dark as it was initially. As for the longevity of the show, that's my big question mark, because typically a lot of these types of series, unless you're absolute devoted into the main girl, it's going to get boring at some point. I do kind of see there being a little bit of a refreshing aspect to add in with the side characters. So far, they're very distant. All we really had is her main childhood friend, the one that's kind of been supporting her a lot. He calls her boyfriend. That's the only one that's really gotten any sort of attention. That was around the idea of her snacking and hiding away that she's snacking. It doesn't seem like they're adding too much chemistry with them on the sidelines. It really does seem like it's more focused on him and Yamada. So we'll see if it can actually keep up the flavor. So far, the comedy's been really solid, though. Like I said, the doofy expressions that Yamada was giving when she was eating the snacks, and she's kind of doing the whole, again, Inukai-san thing, where she just, what is this girl doing? She sounds goofy as hell. Who does this? I swear I checked to see if the studio or maybe a director or who worked on Inukai-san's dog that worked on this show, because that was obviously ripped from it. The chest wagging, the battle formation and protecting Yamada, her running over and over to get water, how she keeps putting her trash in his hands and walking away. Almost like she's giving him a gift and it's like the leftovers and she's just leaving. And she makes sure to eat like most all of it. Like there's nothing but crumbs left behind. And it always looks like she's like doing him a favor. And yeah, her trying to push people to buy this magazine that she's in. And yes, a lot of jokes about him handling himself in private seems to be an ongoing joke as well, which it's up in the air if that's okay with you or not. But I don't think the comedy's heavy. It's just kind of a goofy comedy. This idea of you gotta chuckle because she's such a dork. Not that they're doing some crazy punchlines. I think at its heart so far is really more wholesome. This show ends up being a lot more wholesome than I initially thought that it was going to be. And again, whether that works or not, it's really going to be dependent on the person. I think wholesome animes and sometimes are just as subjective as comedy itself. Visually, it looks great. I don't have any problems with the visuals. Again, they put the effort when it's needed with Yamada. When they want to show off Yamada, they're going to do some crazy animation. So, but in that, it's decent looking show. I have no complaints for it. But that's my first impressions of The Dangers of My Heart. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know what's thought of the series if you're going to be checking it out. Additionally, if you're new to this channel, make sure that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below, as well as a membership. I thank everybody for their support. It means so much to me, and y'all take care.